What's up everyone? I have 5 questions on dummy variables in the post bag today. We'll start off with the easy question. My multiple regression model has both categorical and continuous predictor variables. How can I interpret when both are included in the analysis at the same time? Having both types of variables in the model does not change the interpretation of the coefficients, but remember we interpret coefficients on categorical and continuous predictors differently. Next question. What if you have multiple independent variables that had to be recoded as dummy variables? Do I put in all the created dummy variables for all the original variables? And the other question here is, can a dummy variable analyzed with linear regression together with a lot of other variables using SPSS, or do I have to analyze it partially? Once you've coded a factor into dummies, you put the dummies into the model, not the original factor. For example, if you had a factor called color that had levels red, white, blue sitting in a column in your data, you would create 2 dummies and put these 2 dummies into the model. If you regress white on just one set of dummies, you'd be doing an ANOVA analysis. And is that what you want to do? i.e., do you just want to test if there is a difference in means across the levels of the group? If not, you'll add the dummies along with other x's in your regression model. Next question. Is this ordinal regression analysis? Thanks very much. Okay, being polite is also good. I see why you're asking this. A factor coded as dummies may serve as the y or x variable. When it's used as an independent variable, it's just your standard regression. If it's used as a dependent variable, then it's a different kind of regression. If the levels of the factor are ordinal, like a Likert scale, and you want it to be your dependent variable, then you'd run an ordinal regression. And I've covered this for SPSS users. Let's say that I have one categorical variable with 6 levels, and I create 5 indicator variables in order to represent all the 6 levels. If 2 of the 5 variables are insignificant, then do I drop these 2? This is a common question. Consensus is that if you wish to test that your factor is significant, you keep the levels together. Draw all the levels for the factor or leave them all in, even if some of the levels are not significant. Use a partial F test to decide. Final question. I heard that it's not right to use VIF, the variance inflation factor, on dummy variables or on polynomial regressors in regression. Yep, that's right, though I don't think it's taught to newbies. The VIF is not applicable if your factor is represented by 2 or more dummies. It's also not applicable in polynomial regression. Fox and Monod introduced the generalized variance inflation factor to cover this situation. Very quickly, the VIF is dependent on the choice of baseline for the factor, whereas the generalized VIF is not. At this time, the generalized VIF is not widely available on stats packages. If you know R, then great, you can run the generalized variance inflation factor. If you are a newbie that's doing a stats project and not using R, then you could run the VIF but state that it's not really applicable, and I've given you the reference to back you up. Okay, so thanks for the questions and keep them coming. I would never even dream of some of the questions your students come up with, which keeps things interesting. Some of the stuff here has been covered in more detail in other videos, especially the ones in SPSS. My new series on regression for newbies does regression methodology, so you can follow it whatever package you're using, so go check it out.